Welcome. I'm David Pratt, chef and owner of a brick restaurant in San Clemente. Today we're going to be doing the acorn squash appetizer, in season right now, with acorn squash, hazelnuts, burrata cheese, and sage. So perfect for this cold weather we're having, and when it's available, I think you should take advantage of it. We have acorn squash, which I got from South Coast Farms. You can get it from any farmer's market or any market this time of year. I recommend getting it from a farm or a farmer's market because it ripens longer, and when you cut into it, the orange color is an indication that it's quite ripe. So depending on its size, you can either cut it in the middle for 2 portions, or if it's a little smaller, just cut off the end. I think we're going to have a nice one here. I'm going to take that off and just cut right down the middle. There's no need, once you cut it, to take off the seeds. It's nice and easy. Good color, nice orange, it's nice and ripe. There's no need to take out the seeds yet. We'll take care of that later. Okay, I'm going to put a little base. Easier to do it now before you cook it. And then we're going to put the acorn squash into a pan, cut side down. I'm going to put a little water in the pan, a little salt in the water, and I put it into a hot oven, about 375 degrees, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of the squash. We're going to make a sauce with balsamic vinegar and honey. You don't need to buy a fancy balsamic. You put both balsamic and the honey together, reduce it down to a syrup. When it coats the back of the spoon, it's ready to go. We're going to use it to brush the acorn squash, and we're going to reserve some of it to decorate the plate. So the squash has come out of the oven. I have a reduction of balsamic and honey, and I'm ready to put the plate together and begin serving it. We're going to take the squash. At this point, you can take out the seeds. You simply scoop it, nice and easy. You can tell the squash is done when you pierce it with a fork or a knife and it comes out smooth. You can do this a few days ahead of time as well. If you're having a dinner party and you want to do that ahead of time, keep it covered in a refrigerator for 1 to 2 days. You certainly don't need to do it the last moment. Okay, so we're going to take our squash, our reduced balsamic and honey glaze. I'm just going to brush it on, nice and easy. This is going to go into a hot oven once it's brushed, and it's going to caramelize a little bit, and plus you need to reheat it, especially if you cooked it ahead of time. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, a little seasoning, and then I'm going to put it onto a pan, into a hot oven. Your oven at home, turn it up to broil or 500 degrees. I have a much larger oven. It goes about 800 degrees. Put that in there. It's going to take just a few moments to get some caramelization. We'll take it back out, and it'll be ready to go. Great. Now the squash is ready. It's hot, bubbling, got some nice caramelization. We're going to put some cheese onto it. I like to use burrata cheese at Brick. Burrata cheese is a mozzarella with a stracciatella inside, which is basically a creamy filling inside. You don't have to use mozzarella. I actually have done it with goat cheese, and it's fantastic. So we're simply going to put it into the squash. And we're going to warm this through. Of course, we keep it cold when it's resting, but for service, we're going to just put it back into the oven for a few minutes so it doesn't become hot. It just takes off some of the chill. I'm going to put a little seasoning on it, and it's going to go back into the oven. While this is in the oven, we're going to make our butter sauce with the hazelnuts and the sage. You're going to have butter, hazelnuts. I've taken these and I've roasted them ahead of time. I put a little bit of seasoning with it, some cayenne, some paprika, some cinnamon, and some sugar. Not a lot of spice, just a little something. You don't have to roast them ahead of time. You can just go from raw. As they cook in the butter, they will roast on their own. And we have some great sage from our local farm. Very much in season. All these ingredients are very much in season right now. Put a little bit of butter. If you're trying to be healthy, you don't have to use butter. Olive oil is fine. It certainly has a nice flavor with the butter. As it separates, the solids will brown and take on a great nutty flavor. So I'm just going to put some nuts in, and again, they're going to roast again. And I'm going to put some sage in, and this will kind of fry up. The oils will release, it'll become crispy, and you'll have a great sage and hazelnut flavor together. It shouldn't take very long. You'll see some browning on the edges. That's the toasting of the solids. Swirl it around a little bit. At this point, it's got a nice color. I'm going to take some lemon. Just going to take it off the flame. This is going to stop the browning process. It's going to add some nice acid component to the dish. And this After we season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, it's ready to go. And we are ready to put the dish together. Now you can take your reserved balsamic and honey glaze, and you can decorate it any way you want. You can put a brush stroke on the plates. I put this into a squirt bottle and just do some kind of decorative pattern. Any way you like it, especially if it's reduced and it goes onto a cold plate, it will stay the way you like it on the plate. So be careful, use caution when plating this, because this is going to be hot. I get a towel, I'll put that into the center of the plate. I'll take my sauce, which is the nuts, the sage, the brown butter, a little bit of lemon, a little bit salty butter, and I'm going to just put it along the edge of the burrata cheese, or the acorn squash. Put a few of the nuts around, maybe some on the base of the plate as well. Once they get through that initial layer of seasoning, they're going to want to get some more from the plate. So I always put a little bit of the brown butter and the sage and the nuts on the base of the plate. I'm going to season. Again, salt, use salt and sea salt most often. A little pepper. You can toast bread, you can grill bread. It's just nice to be able to make that crostini. So we're going to simply put it on the plate. Maybe a touch of good quality olive oil. Use the spoon to get some of that pudding from the squash, that deliciousness. The cheese, the nuts, the sage, the butter. Just smear it onto your crostini. And it's amazing, it's delicious, it's fall, all in one bite. Thank you for joining us. I hope you try this dish at your house with your friends and your guests, and come to Brick and try it here as well.